Hello everyone, this is Jonathan Little, and today is the morning of my $5,000 buy-in World Series of Poker final table, which is pretty cool. I planned on making a lot of videos throughout this World Series of Poker, but honestly nothing much has happened up until the last 3 or 4 days. I played about 8 or 9 tournaments, and I lost all of them. I made no dinner breaks, no day twos. It was not fun. But I came out to the World Series of Poker with sort of the goal of maximizing my equity at the World Series of Poker, which is something I don't think I necessarily did that in the past. I think I was trying to maximize money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But this year, I decided to focus a lot on the World Series of Poker, try to show up and play my best every day, and also get in very good shape. Those were my 2 goals. I was not really out here trying to maximize money, but I was trying to play every World Series event that made sense and get in shape. So every day after I busted, I would go to the gym, come home, watch some poker videos, play Magic the Gathering on the internet, and relax. And I think that kept me fairly sane. Whereas in the past, I know that I've had pretty bad losing streaks at the World Series of Poker, and I think that's because I really was trying to play poker all the time, and I wasn't really focusing on just being happy, and I'm certainly happy as can be at this World Series of Poker. So I don't know if I'm doing it right, but I'm definitely doing it differently than the past. So after losing the first 9 tournaments, when I came out to Vegas, I knew I was going to sell my house. This is my house in Vegas. It's not a rental house. And I am in New York City or traveling to Canada and Europe a lot of the time now, and there aren't a ton of poker tournaments in Vegas like there used to be. When I moved out to Vegas, they had, probably 4 months worth of poker tournaments at least, and if you're going to be out here 4 months, it makes sense to have a house. But if you're only out here during exactly the World Series of Poker, it doesn't make a ton of sense. So I sold my house a few days ago. We put it up on the market. We sold it for more than the asking price, and I felt like we asked a reasonably high amount, and it sold immediately, so that was lucky. And then the next day, I went to lunch with one of my poker heroes, Mason Malmuth. Mason Malmuth is the main guy at 2+2, and I can say without a doubt, if I did not find his books as a kid, and even today, I read all of their books, I definitely would not be here today. So I actually misclicked on his poker forum. I said there'd be a lunch party for excelling at No Limit Hold'em, and he got on me about that. So he's like, when is the free lunch? So I offered to take him to a free lunch, and we went to lunch, had a great conversation. It was very nice. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and that was great. That was actually the day 1 of the $5,000 tournament that I final tabled. I went to lunch with him before that and actually showed up like 10 minutes late because we had such a good time. Lunch was scheduled at 1. We stayed all the way out until 3:45 or so. So that was a very good time. Also that same day, Tim Ferriss, who has helped me learn how to help you guys by making a lot of these videos in my poker site, jonathanlittlepoker.com, and my book project, Excelling at No Limit Hold'em. All of these ideas sort of originated through reading stuff by Tim Ferriss, and he actually mentioned me in one of his tweets. He has infinite followers and infinite clout, I guess is a word. And that was very nice. I actually commented on one of his posts. He tried to learn poker very quickly. He works hard to learn things quickly and efficiently, and poker was one of the things he tried to learn a few years back, and then he made it to a TV series. And I commented on the thread. He apparently liked the comments and mentioned me, so that was nice. And what else? Oh yeah, I final tabled the $5,000 tournament. That was good. I don't feel like I did anything too creative. I found that throughout this entire tournament, I had a reasonably large amount of chips. I was never all in for my stack. I don't think I've been all in for my entire stack yet, actually. And I've actually, so Excelling at No Limit Hold'em, my book, it's coming out today at 6 p.m. at the Grips Poker booth. There's a lot going on today. I have a final table and a book launch. I have been trying to pay attention to how Olivier Bousquet plays. I think he is perhaps one of the best in playing in a manner that makes it really hard for his opponents to do anything right. And I've been trying to do that while still mixing in sporadic bluffs and read-based plays whenever I think they make sense. And I think it's been working out pretty well. Obviously, I was 0 for 9 before this tournament, but you still have to win your all-ins. And then in the shallower stacked $1,500 tournaments, you are still going to be getting all-in a decent amount. Whereas in the $5,000 tournaments, you really do keep 50 big blind average stacks throughout the tournament. And for that reason, you don't have to do anything too ridiculous. And that's what I've been doing. I watched Olivier play his final table. He final tabled the Millionaire Maker, which was a $1,500 buy-in event. Also, Mike Sexton finaled that table. He's also part of excelling in No Limit Hold'em. And he played exactly like he said he plays in my book. And seeing him implement the strategy is almost inspirational to some extent. So that's what I've been trying to do, and I think it's working out okay. So I played yesterday. I ran a few bluffs in spots where I don't know if they were good. I actually posted a few of them on Share My Pair, which is a hand-sharing application I'm part of. And they all worked, so that's fortunate. I think my opponents generally view me as tight-ish, aggressive-ish, not wanting to risk my stack too often. So if you can make it look like you want to risk your stack, your opponents will often give you too much credit. So that happened a few times. I mean, I like to sort of take aggressive lines against people who I think are going to be a little bit overly active, because I think those are the players you really want to do something to let them know that you're not the guy to mess around with. So I played with Joseph Chung and Dan O'Brien and Jonathan Jaffe, and all those players are good, aggressive players. And I have run bluffs on all of them, and they've all succeeded, so that's fortunate. But what that tells me is they think I'm probably going to be somewhat snug. And if that's the case, I probably need to be getting after it even a little bit more than I am. But it's difficult to know. So we got down to 16 players, and they put Jonathan Jaffe 2 to my left. He's a high-stakes, like a $5,000 buy-in, heads-up, sit-and-go guy who's very, very active, very, very, very aggressive. And I was not loving that seat. I actually just played somewhat snug from 16 down until we got to 9. There was one hand where he raised second position. I defended ace 7 suited in the big blind. It came jack 9 5. I checked. He made it like 30K, and then on the flop he bet 22K. And in that spot, I don't really think you can fold much. But I'm not sure I need to be calling looking to try to get a showdown or trying to run bluffs. I didn't really know what I was doing. So I called a 22,000 on the turn. Turn was a 5, so jack 9 5 5. I checked. He bet 60,000, and I made it 150,000. And I don't know. See, this is a spot where if he expects me to be fairly straightforward, then I should be bluffing here a ton, because I could easily have a 5, and it's really hard for him to have better than a jack, or even a jack. Although, of course, he can have anything. He won a big pot with 8-3 suited, raising second position at the final table, so he could have anything. But I raised 150K there, and he thought for a little bit and folded, and that lets me think I can probably get away with sporadic bluffs, but I don't really. It's hard to know for sure, because you don't really want to be bluffing the guys who are very capable of anything. But at the same time, you can't just let them run you over and beat you to death with tiny bets, because then they're just making profitable bets on every street. So anyway, I got to the final table. I'm third in chips. I think one guy has 3 million. Me and Jonathan Jaffe have 2 million. Jonathan Jaffe's on my direct right now, which is good for me, because you want the aggressive guys on your right. And then I think most everyone else has less than 2 million, more like 1 million. And I think we're playing 15,000, 30,000. Yeah, I think that sounds right. Maybe it's a little bit bigger. I don't know. I've been out of my mind. After I finished the day, we actually finished very early. I decided to hop into the Monster Stack tournament, the $1,500 tournament, because today, Saturday, is an off day for that tournament. It's actually day 1B of that tournament, but I'm not playing that. So after today, I'll be playing day 2 of the Monster Stack. I ended up making day 2 of that. So I go from 0 for 9 to 2 day 2s in a row. So that's very fortunate. When I came home, I made a point to study a lot. Dan O'Brien has some hand packs on this program, Instapoker. They're a tiny bit dated, but they are from high-stakes, deep-stacked poker tournaments. And I went through all of his packs. He has a few packs on Instapoker. I'm also part of that. I have a lot of packs on there. It's effectively a quiz program. And I generally got a gist for how he plays in at least the spots that were presented, so that's a good thing. I watched a lot of Jonathan Jaffe videos. He makes videos for Ivy Poker. He actually used to make videos for Float the Turn a long time ago. For those who don't know Jonathan Jaffe, I beat him heads up at Foxwoods for a World Poker Tour title, I think in 2008. So a long time ago. We've both been around for a while. He's much more of a high-stakes heads-up online player, and whereas I've been playing more live tournaments, but he's been around forever. And he's very tough to play against, and I was trying to figure out what he's doing in a lot of spots. So I've run through a ton of his videos. I've meditated a bit. Elliot Rowe just sent me a video. He's my mindset coach, also part of Excelling at No Limit Hold'em. He sent me a final table, mindset MP3, so that's useful. I've been meditating some. I worked out a little bit, and I had breakfast. So that's it for today. That was effectively my preparation. I got about 9 hours of sleep last night, and I woke up, did the studying, did the meditating, ate some breakfast. I feel like I'm ready to go. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with my book launch today. It's supposed to start at 6 p.m. A bunch of the authors have told me they would be there at 6 p.m. Hopefully I'm still playing the final table. And that's exciting. I actually am very excited with the book. I left it downstairs, unfortunately, like a fish. But it's a big book. It's very thick. You know what? I'm going to pause the video. Let me go get it. Here it is. Excelling at No Limit Hold'em. There's me. Here are all the authors. As you can see, we have a few people who final tabled this World Series so far. Scott Clements, he took 4th in the $10,000 Omaha 8 or Better tournament. We have Olivier Bousquet, Mike Sexton, and Phil Hellmuth. Phil Hellmuth won the Raz tournament, $10,000 Brian Raz tournament. I ran up the stairs, I'm out of shape. For his 14th bracelet. As you can see, the book does have some colors in there. It's a very big book also. It is the size of an iPad. I did not realize how big this thing is. I mean, as you can see, it's bigger than my head. It's definitely larger than my other books. It does have multiple colors inside. It's very fun. I'm a big fan of it. I also give away my tournament cheat sheet in the back. Make sure you check that out if you do get the book. But I really could not be happier with this book. It looks good. It feels good. It is $40, not $50. I thought it was $50 initially. Yeah, it's great. You can actually go to holdembook.com, HOLDEMBOOK.com, to get your copy. Also to sign up for the webinars. Almost all of the authors involved, again, a lot of them, they have agreed to do a live webinar, multiple live webinars actually, but a series of free webinars for you to attend probably in 4 or 5 months, starting in 4 or 5 months. I'm going to do one free webinar each month for the next, if we have 17 authors, the next year and change. This is a big project for me. I'm committing to a lot. So make sure you sign up for all the free webinars at holdembook.com. And I'm going to go play this final table. I'm going to go continue watching Jonathan Jaffe videos. I've not run through all of them. And I'm going to meditate a little bit and try to relax. And I suppose I will update you whenever this is done. I'll let you know my general thought process. But it's been a fun 3 days. The first 10 days or so, the World Series were not great. Actually, my fiance Amy came out for a few days, and that was fantastic. Beyond that, I have not had too incredibly much fun out here at the World Series. But the last 3 days have been about as perfect as possible. I've sold a house, went to lunch with the guy who helped me get good at poker, Mason Malmuth. Got mentioned by Tim Ferriss. Mike Sexton said on Twitter, I'm the most ambitious person in poker. That made me feel very good. I've had a lot of nice things saying about that. I mean, I guess people like when you put together a huge project and try to share useful poker knowledge with the world. And it feels good to know that people who I actually respect and admire look up to that. So thanks for all that. Thanks to everyone who sent me a good luck email. I woke up and I had something like 140 emails in my inbox. Mostly all saying good luck, so thank you all for those. I read all of them. And I'm going to go do my best.
All in. Everybody folds. Actions back to Jonathan Jaffe, who folds, and Dominic will win the game. Alright, Dan is the all-in player for $1,165,000. He shares ace of spades, queen of spades. Jonathan Little has 10 of spades, 10 of diamonds. And let's see a flop. Flop is a jack of diamonds, 4 diamonds, 6 of spades. And the turn. Ace. Turn is the 8 of diamonds. And let's see the river. River's the 6 of diamonds. Jonathan Little ends up with a flush. And Dan O'Brien is our 8th place finisher, taking home a little over $49,000. Let's give it a round of applause for Dan O'Brien. Jeremy Small. Anywhere heads up to the flop.
I'm back. So I did not win my final table. I actually took 6th, which is not really where you want to land whenever you start with only 8 players. But I'm pretty happy with my play. I actually won a flip right off the bat to knock out Dan O'Brien. I think I had pocket 10s, and I think he had ace queen. Either that or the other way around. I don't remember. It was many hours ago. So I was lucky enough to win that. Then Anthony Zeno busted in 7th place when he had his ace king lose to Jonathan Jaffe's pocket kings. And then after that, I had about 3 million chips. One other guy had about 6 million chips. And then everyone else was somewhat short, like 1.5 million or less. But then not really much happened great for me. I actually found myself in 2 pretty tough spots on the river. One where I rivered a straight and a backdoor flush came in. I bet and my opponent raised somewhat small. I was pretty unhappy about it, but I decided to pay him off. I don't really see how I can fold whenever a 4 straight's out there. I think it was, I don't remember what it was. It's too late now. It's about midnight now. The board was... an 8 made a straight, and I had an 8, so it was like 7, 6, 5, 4 blank, and a backdoor flush came in. So I bet the river, he raised small, I called. I don't really think I can fold there ever. I think that'd be pretty ridiculous. So I was okay with that call. And then on another call versus Jonathan Jaffe, he limped small blind. I checked 8-3 offsuit, and it came 10-8-5. So he checked. I bet 75. I think I bet pretty small. I don't remember what it was. Maybe 75K into 100K or 125K. He called. Turn was a 6. Not a great card. So it went check, check. River was another 6. He checked, and I decided to value bet because I thought he could easily look me up with a 5 or maybe even ace high, putting me on sporadic, various overcards. So I bet 125K, and he then made it, I think, 350. That was another spot where I thought it was close. I mean, I recognize I have a complete bluff catcher, but Jonathan Jaffe is very well known to bluff. As I've talked about, I watched a lot of his videos, and he likes to bluff in lots of spots, a lot of creative spots. I also did not think he would think that I would be betting the river very wide. So I didn't think he would be checking a 10 or better on the river, because I thought that he would think that I would call with a 5 or better if he was to bet. And I guess maybe he thought my range was just entirely air. And if he thinks my range is entirely air, then of course he wants to check to give me the chance to bluff. But I thought he probably would be value betting most of his really good hands. So he did check raise. And I made the crying call. I don't really see how you can fold if your opponent is very good and active. And he certainly is. So that was unfortunate. That put me back to a mortal level chip stack of 2 million. So then the stacks were, the big stack had like 6 million. Jonathan Jaffe had 2 million. I had 2 million. And then the other 2 stacks both had about 1.5 million. And then I got pocket jacks. I raised under the gun 6-handed. Jonathan Jaffe 3-bet the big blind. I 4-bet. He went all in. We only had 30 big blinds at this point. And I called. And he showed the ace king, and I lost the flip. So it was a bit unfortunate. Didn't run super hot in the flips. I won one, lost one. Obviously, you want to win all of them. And I found myself in pretty crappy spots on the river. I had a very good online player helping me with watch the hole cards and giving me suggestions for what I needed to be doing, which he helped a ton with, even though I didn't capitalize on it because I busted too early. But he said he would have played all the hands roughly the same way I did, so that made me feel a little bit good, and I'm happy with my play. All in all, I'm happy with it. Very rarely do you show up to a final table and then bust kind of quickly and walk away happy, but I recognize I could not have done too much. So yeah, I got $85,000 or so. That's nice. That pays for the summer. Hopefully I can continue to do well. So yeah, after that, I did the book launch for Excelling at No Limit Hold'em. That went fantastically well. We actually had a lot of the authors there. We had Mike Sexton and Phil Hellmuth. They gathered a huge crowd around the Grips poker booth. We had Evan Jarvis also, and Ed Miller, Matt Affleck, Elliot Rowe, Patricia Cardner. Hope I'm not forgetting anyone. Chad Holloway. Maybe that was it. I don't remember. There were a lot of authors there, and it was a very good time. We sold a bunch of books. We signed a lot of books. I've met a lot of my fans, and probably you guys are watching this now. So thank you very much for watching this, and thank you very much for being at the book signing. It means a lot to see all of you there and loving the content that I produce. Everyone loved the book. They liked picking up the humongous book, feeling it. I left it downstairs again, otherwise I'd be showing it to you again. But it was a great time. After that, I went out to dinner with my publishers, Dan and Byron of D&B Poker. Somehow I've never met them, which was kind of interesting. We always talked on Skype and through email, and we've had a great relationship for a lot of years, and I'm excited to continue moving forward with them. But that was fun. We went to Michael Mina at Bellagio. It was great food, great time, and it was nice. Tomorrow, I have to play day 2 of the Monster Stack tournament. It's not really a Monster Stack for me. It was sort of a short stack tournament because I bought it with 20 big blinds. But I'm going to have 30 big blinds tomorrow going into that, which is certainly acceptable. I'm going to go do my best. If I bust that early, probably really early, I will hop into the $1,000 tournament tomorrow. And then after that, the next day is another $5K, $5,000 six-handed. I actually final tabled this event, I think 2 years ago. I took third. So I'll go from there. I was actually looking at my results for fun. I was actually Googling all the players at my table today, and I decided to Google myself to look at my World Series of Poker results. And almost all of my caches are in $5,000 and $10,000 tournaments at the World Series of Poker, which is kind of weird because there aren't very many of those. It's funny because I play all the 1500s, and I guess I just bust all of them. I kind of view the 1500s as almost like you have to win 2 flips. And then if you win 2 flips, you're playing a 6K. But you don't win 2 flips too often, 1 in 4 times. So you really only get to play 1 in 4. And if you're good, maybe you get to play 1 in 3. And maybe that's a silly way to look at it, but it helps rationalize my results and makes me sleep better. So anyway, that's it. I'm certainly going to be updating this more as we proceed through the World Series, but that's that. I want to thank you all for watching this, and I'll talk to you next time.